welcome to Learning with Liz. Today we're going to be looking at what to expect for your one-on-one teacher training interview. Hello and welcome to my channel. So on Learning with Liz, I provide tips and tricks for teacher trainees thinking about going into the education world, maybe trainees currently, and also NQTs. So if you're interested in that sort of content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and comment below with any tips and tricks of your own. As I mentioned, we're going to be looking at what to expect for your teacher training interview. If you're not quite there with your whole teacher training journey, you've not quite done your personal statement yet to apply for maybe a PGCE, SCITT, Schools Direct, whichever you're thinking of, have a little look at my video which is linked below, all to do with how to write your personal statement. However, if you have already sort of done your personal statement, you've applied for the different training programs and you've currently got an interview, first of all, well done. Second of all, you might be stressing a little bit, okay? So I am here to try and help calm your nerves, give you some ideas of what they could ask you on that day. So, throughout this whole teacher training process when you're applying, it's typically around November to April time that the interviews take place to see if they want you basically on their training course. But don't worry if you've maybe left it a little bit later in the year. I do know that people have had interviews around May time, June time as well, so don't stress. This video is designed to help primary and secondary trainees, so it's going to be a little bit blended, but there are also going to be some questions that are catered more towards secondary school trainees interviews, just because my experience is from a secondary school and I can give you a little bit more detail about what they might be asking. So don't forget to watch until the very end of the video where I'm going to tell you one of the most challenging questions that you could get asked. I have broken down this information into 4 easy questions. The first question being what, second one being why, the next one when, and the fourth how. The first question that you will absolutely get asked on in your teacher training interview is, what would you do if a student disclosed personal information to you? This question is all orientating around safeguarding problems. So first of all, if you don't know what safeguarding is, I would thoroughly suggest you research it before your interview, just so this question doesn't knock your confidence. So what you should do in this circumstance is, first of all, never assure the student that you cannot tell anyone else. It's really important that you do pass on this information onto someone higher, for example, the designated safeguarding lead in the school or the pastoral team, and they will deal with this information further. This sort of safeguarding problem is something really serious about the child's well-being. So obviously, if they're asking you a question or telling you something, for example, like they're really stressed about their homework and they don't know what to do, that is not something for the safeguarding team to sort of deal with. It's more of issues at home, potentially, that could be going off. Issues with like severe problems, maybe with mental health, really serious stuff. So safeguarding is very important, and that is why they will ask you about it in your interview. The second question is all to do with why. Why do you want to become a teacher? So be really careful you plan this question through, because I'm telling you, they've heard all the generic basic answers. For example, oh, I really love being with kids, you know, I really enjoyed my time at school. That's a really basic answer. Let's try and think outside of the box. So maybe you want to go along the lines of something that I said was, I really enjoyed my time at secondary school, but I completely appreciated that it's such a difficult time for students and teenagers, a hard time in their life. So if I could do anything to make it more entertaining or positive, that is what I wanted to do. So going back into school, lifting the students' spirits, and then also the second part of the answer, obviously to do with secondary school teaching, was explaining why I specifically wanted to teach religious education in secondary schools. If you are going into secondary school teaching, you will get asked subject-specific questions as well. So bear that in mind. There will be someone from the teaching school sort of interviewing you, and you'll also have a second body of subject-specific. So you were warned. The sort of questions that you could get asked in your subject-specific route if you are doing secondary school teaching is something really niche about your topic. So for example, with religious education, I was asked what was the most convincing argument for the existence of God. Is it the teleological argument? Is it the cosmological argument? You're probably listening to this like, excuse me, but obviously with subject-specific stuff, you need to know the basics. For example, with RE, I needed to know the 6 basic world religions when I went into that interview, because they could ask a question on different religious festivals. So make sure you know the basics around your subject, or you know something that you can definitely speak about if you are in a history interview, or if you're being interviewed as an English teacher. The third question that you could get asked during your interview is, when was a time you faced extreme stress? This is definitely something you want to think about and turn into a positive. So, of course, it's not always rainbows and sunshine in life, and the interviewers don't expect you to tell them, no, I've never faced stress in my life at all. So, can you think of an example? It could have been at uni, it could have been in a work environment situation. If you've done experience with schools already, were you already put in a stressful situation at school? So first of all, what was the stress? And second of all, how did you overcome it? Can you twist it into a positive? So maybe you could say, from this experience, I learned time management skills, or from this experience, I learned about how to think outside of the box, or from this experience, I learned how to be a team player, etc. Turn it all into a positive. And the last question that I am going to share with you is, how would you respond to a challenging student? So let me tell you, as a teacher, I have now had a fair few challenging students, and the main thing is making sure that you deal with the situation appropriately. So in the interview, you could get asked or given a scenario. For example, you have a student that is not necessarily sort of flinging chairs across the table, shouting and swearing at other students, but he is not doing his work at all. He's just sort of daydreaming, staring off into the clouds, and this is something called low-level disruption. And this question, if they ask you on the interview, you could be like, I have no idea what I would do in that circumstance. So try and think and brainstorm some ideas. What would you do when you're facing a challenging student, whether it be low-level disruption, whether it be someone is really, really angry and frustrated? I know in secondary school that can definitely be the case. So if you have a student who is really passionate and angry and is just not happy in the lesson, you need to make sure that you remove them from that situation as soon as possible. And you as the teacher are as calm as possible when doing that. So maybe it's that you remove them from the classroom and just get them to have a breather outside, and then you come out and speak to them once they've calmed down a little bit. Or if you've got a low-level disruptive student, maybe it's the idea of going up to them quietly whilst the other kids are getting on with their work, sort of kneeling down, having a chat with them, asking them what they've understood from that content so far, maybe giving them a few quiz questions just to sort of check their knowledge and understanding and refocus them. The last little bit of information I want to share with you is how long the interview will last approximately. So I have received this information from the lead of Sheffield SCITT. Obviously when I got the information from you guys that you wanted this video being shared on YouTube, I wanted to make sure that my information was accurate. So after speaking to the lead in the Sheffield SCITT, she let me know that the interviews one-on-one are approximately 30 to 40 minutes. This could be different for other training providers, but on the whole, it gives you a bit of a flavour of how long you might have to be talking for. So do be prepared with your answers. Do some mind maps before your interview, just so you're feeling as confident as possible when the day arrives. The other thing that will take place on the same day, if you are doing a Sheffield SCITT or just a SCITT in general interview, is the teaching and learning exercise. So that will be approximately 20 minutes long, where you are in front of a class of maybe 10 or 15 kids and you are going to be doing a training exercise. If you would like me to do a video to sort of prepare you as to what to expect from that, do let me know in the comments below, and I can get that sorted for you as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's been really insightful for you. Give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it and you've learned some things from it. If you have recently been to an interview and you want to share what the questions were for you, please do comment below. Let me know if you have any other tips and tricks as well for people watching this video. That would be super duper helpful. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe if you would like to watch more content all to do with teaching and learning tips from myself. Have a lovely day. What do you mean?
No outtakes at all.
That was perfect, all of it. I didn't say that right. I have a background. Bird pork. Bird pork. Ouch, go wow wow. Have a lovely day.